Lockstin hates Pokemon? Lockstin exposed! Ew. Hello all, I'm Lockstin, and welcome to my universe. Now, I think I may have mentioned something like this in a video before, but with the recent announcement of Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I feel like this opinion of mine kind of deserves to come out. I don't know. Consider this to be just a simple little rant video, nothing fancy. I hope I don't get too much hate in the comments for this. So I feel like now is a good time to flesh out my true, unfiltered opinion about Pokemon to you all, because I like giving out my opinions just like anyone else, especially when the opportunity arises. And that's why back when I was a student and needed more money for games like the upcoming Pokemon games, I used Opinion Outpost, an easy-to-use website where you can answer survey questions and give your opinions on all sorts of things, and get points for doing so. You can then trade in those points for gift cards. I've gotten all kinds of games this way, all the ones that I'm listing right here, and you can too! Link in the description, and a huge thanks to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring this channel by sponsoring this video. Now, I know that my channel has a lot of Pokemon videos, and there are a ton more planned, like significantly. The sum of Pokemon videos currently in the work is even significantly more than I'd like to be. I want it to be every other video or every third video is Pokemon related, but that still means Pokemon's probably going to be a third of this channel. But the truth is, I'm not a huge fan of it. To the point where I still haven't even finished Pokemon Moon.
So, you hate it?
No, I don't hate it. I just dislike a particular aspect of it.
Oh, well, I kinda already made the thumbnail say you hate it. I guess that's exaggerating a bit. That's fine, I suppose. What mid to large YouTuber doesn't exaggerate in their thumbnails?
Anyway, get out of here. Anyway, so Pokemon is a series that I absolutely adore. Hands down. I possibly adore it more than any other series. Its lore is similar to Dark Souls lore in that, on the surface, there doesn't seem to be very much of it, but when you start digging, and I mean when you really start digging, oh man, it's deep. There's tons. The Pokemon world is the most deep and fleshed out world in gaming, and that's why I love making videos about it more than any other franchise. Yet, at the same time, I can't bring myself to finish Pokemon Moon, or even the last few Pokemon games I've played. And that's not because they're bad games, heavens no. The world design, the graphics, the character design, for the most part, the music, the detail, the lore, it's phenomenal, but the gameplay, it's slow. It's so slow, and yet at the same time, it's so easy. It's the turn-based battles, I'll just say it. I am extremely picky with my turn-based games. I used to play a ton of them and loved them, but as I've grown older, I'm noticing that I'm liking them less and less. The only turn-based games I can enjoy anymore are Fire Emblem and XCOM, and Fire Emblem's starting to wane on my patience a little too much now, too. And I feel like Pokemon is riding too much on kids playing it for the cute characters and the simple battle mechanics, and adults playing it for nostalgia and waifus. With EXP share, the game is a slog. You just go from point A to point B, murdering everything in your path, and because you're so over-leveled. But at least that's a lot better than playing the game with EXP share turned off, because then just every time you reach a new area, you just run around in circles for a little bit, swapping out your Pokemon here and there. And then you're done. It's not any harder, it just takes a lot more time, until the next bit of story. There is little to no point in strategically choosing your own moves and delving into EVs unless you plan on playing competitively, which I've never been into, throwing that out there also. I'm not into the competitive scene of basically anything. I'm just not a competitive person. But the campaign of the game is so easy that you can play through it with 1 or 2 Pokemon and be fine. I actually did that back when I played Gold. I exclusively used Typhlosion. And the other Pokemon I had were just for the HMs. And I finished it just fine, only later to find out that stats-wise, Typhlosion is one of, if not the worst starter Pokemon. The only way that I've noticed that I can make Pokemon battles interesting to me is by setting my own rules. You know, things like the Nuzlocke challenge and all that, though I've only gone that deep once, and it still wasn't the greatest. I can't trust myself to release my poor Pokemon, it's too sad. But, like with Moon, the rules I set for myself were to never use items, avoid as many battles as possible, keep my levels down, though I do have an EXP share on, And I only use 4 Pokemon, though I swap out the 4 with a total of 10 that I all try to keep leveled properly. And even then, the battles are as hard as press A until you win, maybe occasionally use the D-pad to choose a different move. Though I will say, Pokemon Sun and Moon did a good job at making it a little more difficult with the trial bosses. Guardians, that's the term. The trial guardians. They were a challenge. And they were the most fun I've ever had in a Pokemon game. Shame that it's only a small part of the whole thing. I don't know, maybe I'm lucky and I just have always gotten Pokemon with good EVs or get good critical hits all the time. Maybe I'm just really good at it and I don't realize, but needless to say, for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I'm thinking of just watching Let's Plays instead of actually playing it myself. Specifically Let's Plays that skip the battles. And I also feel like I have to specify that when I say I love the lore, that doesn't necessarily mean I love the story. There is a big difference there. The lore is what's in the Pokedexes, and what the locals tell you about the regions, legends, and such. The story is what you yourself do. Hey kid, gotta go through these simple trials run by kids, and go to school, and get the gym badges, and collect legendaries that control the universe, and become the greatest Pokemon champion of all time, even though you're not even 13. I'm not a huge fan of the Pokemon story either. The scenes involving the legendaries and uncovering the lore and everything, that's all super cool. So is the parts where you take down the evil organization. That's super cool, especially learning their motives and everything, as long as they have good motives. Some evil organizations are better than others. But, again, that's only part of the game. And the same goes for Pokemon Ranger and Mystery Dungeon. I recently started Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia. I'm a few hours in, and so far it's bland. Go to Ranger School, meet characters that fit perfect archetypes, be the underdog rookie like in every other Pokemon game, and spend more time in the battle summary menus at the end of each battle than the actual game, despite mashing A constantly. So I put that down and decided to finally start up Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. After all, I honestly think of all of the Pokemon games I've ever played, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky may be the best Pokemon game in terms of story and characters. It has the most interesting characters that last throughout the entire game, each with their own dynamics that change over the course of the game as they learn about each other. It's amazing. They do still fall into archetypes somewhat, but not nearly as much as Ranger. So then I started Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, and hey, the plot is go to school! Super hyperactive, annoying buddy Pokemon that's the worst partner in the series. Everyone treats you like a tiny little twerp. The gameplay is the simplest it's ever been in the series, etc., etc. I'm several hours in, and it hasn't changed. I don't think it's going to. Maybe I should have looked up a review before I made this video, because maybe it does change and get better, but 6-something hours in, it's not. Even the anime has gone down that path somewhat, with the more childlike humor and art and story. Ash goes to school, oh boy, and this is all why Pokemon Generations was the biggest tease of my life. This is what I want in a Pokemon series. Flesh this out into a whole movie or an anime season or something. I sincerely hope that they did all this as a test to see if a more mature, though still child-appropriate Pokemon series would work well. And none of this is to say that the games have to be mature for my adult sensibilities. I mean, Mario is still my favorite Nintendo franchise, and one of my all-time favorite game series ever. I'm plenty in tune with my inner child, but maybe it's just because having played every Pokemon game since age 5, it's just getting on my nerves more and more. How many times can we learn the lesson that friendship and love is the way to go? What is it, Gen 7? So we've at least had that lesson 34 times now, it seems. And considering that the turn-based battles are a Pokemon staple, that's probably never going to change. But at least the story elements can, but I know they won't. But it does leave me wondering, is Pokemon actually getting easier and more simple, both in understanding the story-wise and gameplay-wise, or am I just getting older? I know the answer is somewhere in the middle, too. The recent announcement of Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon being alternate retellings of Sun and Moon is both exciting and exhausting at the same time. On one hand, awesome! This 100% confirms that the Pokemon multiverse is playing a huge part in the game's lore. But do I really want to live through its gameplay and exploring a similar region and similar story again? I don't. I think I'm finally about to skip a Pokemon game and watch a Let's Player instead. But, I'll still be delving deeply into the lore and design and backstory and everything as always, because that, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, that aspect is still absolutely amazing about Pokemon, and lately, that particular aspect of it has only been getting better and better. The lore is the best it has ever been, but the story on the surface and the gameplay not so much.
So, you hate it?
Well, if it makes me not want to finish it, then yes, I suppose it's fair to say I hate it, but when I hate a game, I usually put it down pretty quick. I want to finish Moon, but every time I pick it up, I just put it back down. So what do you think? Do you at least understand where I'm coming from? Do you somewhat feel the same way, but still enjoy it enough to keep it up? Let me know your opinions down below, and again, that sponsor. Give your opinions to Opinion Outposts, your opinions about various things by following the link in the description. Trade in those points for gift cards, and until next time, please remember to never stop using your noggin. Consider this to be just a simple little rant video, nothing fancy. I hope I don't get too much hate in the comments for this. So I feel like now is a good time to flesh out my true, unfiltered opinion about Pokemon to you all, because I like giving out my opinions just like anyone else, especially when the opportunity arises. And that's why back when I was a student and needed more money for games like the upcoming Pokemon's probably going to be a third of this channel. But the truth is, I'm not a huge fan of it. To the point where I still haven't even finished Pokemon Moon.
So, you hate it?
No, I don't hate it. I just dislike a particular aspect of it.
Oh, well, I kinda already made the thumbnail.
Lockstin hates Pokemon? Lockstin exposed! Ew. Hello all, I'm Lockstin, and welcome to my universe. Now, I think I may have mentioned something like this in a video before, but with the recent announcement of Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I feel like this opinion of mine kind of deserves to come out. I don't know. Pokemon games, I used Opinion Outpost, an easy-to-use website where you can answer survey questions and give your opinions on all sorts of things, and get points for doing so. You can then trade in those points for gift cards. I've gotten all kinds of games this way, all the ones that I'm listing right here, and you can too! Link in the description, and a huge thanks to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring this channel by sponsoring this video. Now, I know that my channel has a lot of Pokemon videos, and there are a ton more planned, like significantly. The sum of Pokemon videos currently in the work is even significantly more than I'd like to be. I want it to be every other video or every third video is Pokemon related, but that still means Pokemon